Is Mars in the midst of a planetary liberation war? Does the planet Mars really contain underground bases? Is it true that humans live on Mars with other indigenous species? Welcome on section 51 on YouTube. We are going to talk about Mars and all the theories developed by many people about the planet Mars. Don't forget to share the video. So, the subject today, life on Mars. Are there underground bases? Are we talking about planetary liberation war on Mars? That's a very big subject. So I wanted to talk about planet Mars, knowing the amazing claims of Israeli professor Haim Eshed at the end of 2021. His revelations about UFOs and the Galactic Federation, the former head of Israel's security space program claimed to Israeli media in December 2020 that President Donald Trump almost revealed that the US is secretly working with aliens from the Galactic Federation on Mars. According to Professor Haim Eshed, who served as the head of Israel's space program from 1981 to 2010, not only is the American government in contact with aliens, but the aliens also advised President Trump not to reveal their existence in case of mass hysteria. Here are his own words during this interview. He said, "The aliens have asked not to publish that they are here. Humanity is not ready yet." Trump was on the verge of revealing, but the aliens in the Galactic Federation are saying, "Wait, let people calm down first. They don't want to start mass hysteria. They want to first make us sane and understanding." The American astronauts were coordinating with the aliens in an underground base on planet Mars, and that these aliens have been waiting for humanity to evolve and reach a stage where we will generally understand what space and spaceships are. Eshed added that the aliens had allegedly been waiting until humanity was more developed before they revealed their existence. The professor acknowledged that some people might be skeptical about his claims, but insisted that there was a growing trend toward accepting alien existence. But it is true that a lot of people are skeptical about this theory or about these informations. And me the first, because based on all known scientific and factual evidence about Mars, the photos and videos we saw of the red planet, we can imagine logically that the current conditions of Mars are not necessarily ideal to allow the construction of human base now, or even 50 years ago. That's also why NASA has sent rovers with scientific equipment. The aim is to study the possibilities of living on the spot and also of terraformation in order to send long-term manned missions in the future. And Perseverance already made the test of producing oxygen on the planet Mars by using some dioxygen already present on the planet. But knowing the information that we currently have, I think it would be reasonable to think that Mars cannot, at this moment, accept a human presence in ideal conditions. What do Eshed's revelations mean? Is it still possible that secret bases have been built on Mars for several years? Human bases? Extraterrestrial bases? Or a mix of the two, with humans and aliens working together on secret projects? These claims, if they are true, would be completely mind-blowing. Eshed even said that wherever he's gone with this claim in academia, experts said that he has lost his mind. But today, he believes they are already taking differently. the ufology subject is taken more and more seriously all around the world since a few years. And Eshed remains on his position, convinced that he has nothing to lose. It is true that his career is behind him now, but there have been so many theories and hypotheses about Mars that it raises a lot of questions. Of course, no major governments or space programs have come out in support of Eshed's claims. Could some elements of these revelations be true? Moreover, he is not the first to make revelations about the existence of structures on Mars. Does the number of testimonies enhance the veracity of an information? Or on the contrary, is it a kind of collective delirium? Are we talking about mass hysteria? And as for this supposed underground base on Mars, where exactly does Eshed think it is located? And how humans have traveled there during all these years? That's a lot of questions. Mars, the fiery planet of death and destruction, has an ancient alignment with war gods. Mars was allegedly named by the ancient Romans for their god of war because its reddish color was reminiscent of blood. As a matter of scientific speculation, the idea of life on Mars began gaining traction by the 18th century thanks to the invention of modern telescope, and also in 1610 Galileo became the first astronomer to view Mars through a telescope that he built himself. From 1704 to 1854, several observations allowed astronomers to argue that Mars had green seas and red land, and maybe even life forms. These observations led to an overall increase in speculation by the mid-19th century that Mars could be habitable. So the greatest stimulus for the idea of Martian life came in the late 19th century by Italian astronomer Giovanni Schiarapelli, and in 1877 he began a campaign of Martian observation to create a detailed map of its surface. This led to the development of a nomenclature system for Martian geological features that is still used today. In particular, Schiarapelli noted many long dark streaks that he named canali or channels, and later observations showed that these were optical illusions. However, when the map was published, canali was misinterpreted to mean canals, which further fueled speculation that there was such a thing as Martian civilization.
September 2024, the James Webb Space Telescope detected a huge object some 10 light-years from Earth, and we're on its trajectory. What if our past held the key to our future? For millennia, ancient tales have spoken of the Anunnaki, mysterious beings who shaped humanity before disappearing. An unknown object, regularly changing trajectory and seemingly heading inexorably towards Earth, and some believe it heralds their return. Are they the Anunnaki, or a completely different extraterrestrial race? Will they come as enlightened guides or ruthless conquerors? Through a fascinating analysis blending mythology, science, and ufology, this book explores the possible scenarios of an imminent contact that could turn our destiny upside down. Are you ready for first contact?
Then Mars observations made by American astronomer Percival Lowell between 1895 and 1906 inspired British writer H.G. Wells to write The War of the Worlds in 1897, a very famous book which told the story of invading Martians fleeing their rapidly desiccating planet. The popular trope of Martian invaders and greys, aka Little Green Men, was born. Lowell's books would also inspire Edgar Rice Burroughs, the famed science fiction writer who wrote the Barsoom series released between 1912 and 1943. In the first installment of this series, A Princess of Mars, an American Civil War veteran, John Carter, is transported to Mars and finds multiple species of humanoid embroiled in war. In 1938, Orson Welles directed and narrated the most famous production of War of the Worlds, which was presented as a radio drama, part of the Mercury Theatre on the Air series, on the night before Halloween. The broadcast is renowned for allegedly causing panic among listeners who did not realize it was a dramatization. With the dawning of the space age in 1958, scientists and the general public were about to get their first up-close and personal look at Mars. The first mission to reach Mars and send back information on its atmosphere was NASA's Mariner 4 mission, as you can see on the picture, and by 1971, NASA's Mariner 9 probe and the Soviet Union's Mars 2 and 3 missions reached Mars and revealed more about its landscape. This included a planet-wide dust storm that was raging at the time and surface features that indicated how water once flowed on Mars. These efforts in exploration of Mars culminated in the Viking 1 and 2 missions in 1975, which consisted of an orbiter and lander element. The landers gathered meteorological, seismic and magnetic readings on Mars from the surface and conducted the first search for biosignatures. The results of these experiments were inconclusive, which further fueled doubts about finding life there. The exploration of Mars stalled somewhat for the next 20 years, with only 2 missions sent during the 1980s. These were the Soviet Phobos 1 and 2 missions sent to explore Mars' 2 satellites, Phobos and Deimos, but failed before completing their missions. But by 1996, a new era of Martian exploration began with the deployment of the Mars Pathfinder lander and the Sojourner rover, the first rover to operate another planet. By 2004, it was joined by the Spirit and Opportunity rovers. The Curiosity rover arrived by 2012 and was followed by NASA's InSight lander in 2018 and the Perseverance rover in 2021. All these missions and the data collected revealed that Mars once had a magnetic field, a warmer and thicker atmosphere, and flowing water on its surface. Roughly 4.2 billion years ago, Mars lost this magnetic field when its interior cooled, arresting geological activity and action in the core. With the magnetic field gone, the Martian atmosphere was slowly stripped away by solar wind between 4.2 and 3.7 billion years ago. All of the surface water not currently frozen at the poles was either lost to space or retreated underground. As for life, microbial organisms may have emerged on Mars billions of years ago when conditions were still favorable. Finding evidence of this past life is the primary objective of the Perseverance rover and the sample return mission that will follow. However, it is merely the latest in a long line of missions whose purpose was to find out if there was ever such a thing as Martian life. For decades, space agencies have been sending robotic missions of every kind to answer the age-old question, is there life on Mars? Now that we are closer than we have ever been to answer that question, just what is it scientists are hoping to find? Scientists anticipate that if Mars had life in the past, the best places to look for evidence of it would be the Gale crater or the Jezero crater. As you can see on the picture, this is the Jezero crater, and other locations where standing lakes or rivers once existed. The evidence would likely take the form of fossilized bacteria, much like those that have been uncovered here on Earth. finding fossilized bacteria or organic carbon that confirms the existence of microbes on Mars 3.5 billion years ago will confirm that life emerged on both of our planets in a similar time frame. They might even point the way towards a common origin, like the possibility that microbes were distributed throughout the solar system by meteorites and asteroids, the panspermia theory. But first we need to find compelling evidence that life once existed there first. This is the official version, but you will see that you have many other alternative theories which can sometimes be completely crazy. You have a lot of theories of life on Mars which have swelled for years. Conspiracy theorists or UFO believers like me, claim that it can be that aliens actually live underneath the surface. For example, this other channel, Tyler Glockner, of YouTube channel Secure Team 10, who posted many discoveries of alleged alien bases on mapping software Google Earth, validating, according to him, the long-held theory that there is without a doubt underground activity happening on the Red Planet. Even Scott Waring, a famous ufologist or UFO believer, he has his own YouTube channel, UFO Sightings Daily, I think. He claimed on his website that the United States has sent humans to Mars to assure their dominance in space. He also added that some hypothetical secretive base on Mars had already destroyed Russian probes that were sent to Red Planet. Strange pictures of the surface of Mars showing strange shapes and reminiscent of constructions are regularly posted on the internet. All this helps to continuously feed the craziest ideas about the existence of well-hidden secrets on Mars. But these are just assumptions, theories, they are just ideas, and so far nothing has been proven. The best example is this authentic photo from the NASA taken by the Viking 1 orbiter. This is an authentic photo. This picture, taken in the Cydonia region on Mars, recalls a human or perhaps alien face in a very strange way. It inspired a lot of individuals and organizations interested in extraterrestrial intelligence and visitations to Earth. Some commentators firmly believe that the face on Mars to be the evidence of a long-lost Martian civilization along with other features they believe are present, such as apparent pyramids, which they argue are part of a ruined city. The region of Cydonia may overlay a vast underground city full of enormous structures. This picture is a side-by-side picture of an image of a stone formation on Mars, on the left, and Stonehenge here on Earth. Ancient Aliens theory tries to explain that this structure of stones on Mars is evidence of an ancient Martian civilization, and that in fact it was these ancient Martians that eventually gained the technology to travel to Earth and inspire the creators of Stonehenge to create a monument of similar likeness. And what about the controversial of Corey Goode, who claims to have worked for over 20 years in the secret space program and fulfilled his involvement with that program in 1987. He has revealed his personal knowledge about the secret industrialization of our solar system and beyond, with David Wilcock as the host of a series of videotaped interviews presented on a show titled Cosmic Disclosure. Whistleblower Corey Goode from the US Secret Space Program, the SSP, said there are humans already on Mars and it's been colonized. In December 1986, Goode was recruited into SSP or UNSAP, the Unalleged Special Access Programs. He was recruited under Project Solar Warden. He was assigned to research vessel in space to study the solar system from December 1986 to December 2007. And as you can see on the words on the picture, he recently answered to a tweet of Elon Musk congratulating to have sent the Crew Dragon in space to the ISS. Elon Musk was talking about the future colonization of Mars. Corey Good answered Elon Musk with these words: "Dear Elon Musk, we are already on Mars. Just read my book." According to Corey Good, Mars was first visited by the Germans as far back as the 1930s, but during the 70s, US space programs were actively exploring Mars and other planets to establish bases. That's completely crazy, this story. But that's interesting. That would make a very good movie.
Do you believe UAPs pose a potential threat to our national security?
Yes. The technology that we faced was far superior than anything that we had.
Do you believe that our government is in possession of UAPs?
Absolutely, based on interviewing over 40 witnesses over 4 years. Biologics came to some of these recoveries.
Oh my gosh, dude.
In 1980, the USSSP became Solar Warden. Under Project Solar Warden, vast development and colonization occurred on Mars and other planets. He is also claiming that bases on Mars were built under the surface. These claims were confirmed by other whistleblowers, like retired US Marine Randy Kramer, known under the pseudonym Captain K, who claimed in 2014 that he spent 17 years on Mars protecting 5 human colonies from Martians in the Mars Defense Force. We already made a video about his story here on the channel. This is called The Captain K Leak, the soldier in the Mars Defense Force. That's a very interesting story. Indeed, the ex-naval infantryman who uses the pseudonym Captain K says he was posted to the Red Planet to protect 5 human colonies from indigenous Martian life forms. More precisely, 2 main indigenous species on Mars, reptilian and insectoid. It is believed that there is a military base at Aries Prime area called Forward Station Zebra. He claimed he then spent nearly 3 years serving in a secret space fleet run by a multinational organization called the Earth Defense Force, which recruits military personnel from countries including the US, Russia and China. He said he was trained to fly 3 different types of space fighters and 3 bombers. Randy Kramer added that training took place on a secret moon base called Lunar Operations Command, Saturn's Moon Titan, and in deep space. Captain K said he retired after a 20-year tour of duty, describing a retirement ceremony on the moon that he claims was presided over by VIPs including ex-Defense Secretary Donald Rumsfeld. Hallucinations or real life? Are there other people like him willing to make the same revelations? Soldiers who had the same experience on Mars. Then more recently, in April 2021, Elena Danan, on the picture, a former professional archaeologist whose claims of contact with extraterrestrial from the Galactic Federation of Worlds have gained widespread attention. She delivered a bombshell report about an ongoing series of military raids on Mars that aim to destroy the bases of a rival extraterrestrial aliens, the Draconian Empire and the Orion Collective. These extraterrestrial bases were allegedly created to suppress the indigenous Mars population, to manage the operations of human colonists associated with a German breakaway group called the Dark Fleet, aka the Nachtwaffen, and oversee major Earth corporations that have relocated to Mars. Her theory suggests that the colonization of Mars began in the 1950s. when the Draconian and Orion aliens helped the breakaway German colony that had established bases in Antarctica and on the Moon using advanced flying saucer craft that initially made up the Dark Fleet. The US military provided the Dark Fleet with nuclear weapons that were used against the indigenous Martian population, comprising local reptilians, insectoids, and other less evolved species that resisted the German colonial expansion and the Draconian and Orion incursions. With the famous brain drain of the 1960s and 1970s, launched under the cover of the US Apollo program, the Dark Fleet presence on Mars grew substantially. Millions of people, many of whom were taken from Earth under false pretenses, expanded the German colonies and created new ones in conjunction with major Earth corporations. These new corporate-run colonies have been called the Interplanetary Corporate Conglomerate, and they are run by a super board comprising retired of service CEOs from major corporations. The relocation program to Mars has apparently been greatly accelerated over the last few months as the deep state is on the verge of a major collapse on Earth. This has led to a major exodus. With the help of the Draconian and Orion aliens, the Mars colonies became so technologically advanced that they eventually were trading with up to 900 extraterrestrial civilizations. The Mars colonies were equipping mercenary forces recruited from all major countries on Earth to join the Dark Fleet for distinct periods of service. The infusion of personnel, equipment, and resources enabled the Dark Fleet to expand its operations significantly. The following of the history of these colonial and intergalactic wars is a bit complicated to understand. What is incredible is how all these theories intersect, blend, and complement each other as they go along, enriching each other to build a myth, a modern legend which somewhere could pass as a truth. I think that these legends, these theories, will never find an end. However, scientifically talking, the search for life on Mars could take generations, even millennia, much like the search for extraterrestrial intelligence. It is a mystery that may never be solved, or it could be solved with a single groundbreaking discovery. All we know is to keep looking in the direction of Mars. Is Mars in the midst of a planetary liberation war? Does the planet Mars really contain underground bases? Is it true that humans live on Mars with other indigenous species? If this is the case, why do all the images sent by the various rovers show no trace of surface activity? What I'm sure of is that we will continue to talk about Mars, to invent crazy stories for a long time until we have set foot there physically to check it out. But this is the same problem with the Moon, you know. It is very difficult to know exactly what is actually happening in inaccessible places like the Moon or like Mars, or even the deepness of the oceans on Earth. This is where the human imagination begins to work. All these thoughts are a valuable reminder that the important things in our lives may be all found right here on Spaceship Earth. Thank you for watching. If you found this video interesting, if you liked this video, please give a big thumbs up and share it with as many people as possible. Thank you as always for your kind messages. Open your eyes, watch the sky. Live long and prosper. Bye.
Found, moving without sound.